All right, good evening, YouTube. I was just sitting here thinking about something. I was thinking about letters. Okay, now when I was doing my religious study series, which I will continue, we talked about symbols briefly. Well, let me see. I remember saying that, symbols are everywhere in our world. All right. Symbols are everywhere. If you cannot necessarily read something, you may have a picture of it. All right. So, for example, a restroom, you have a picture of two stick figures. The male stick figure pretty much is straight. The female stick figure will have something that represents like a dress or a skirt on. So maybe you can't read the word men or women, but you can look at the symbol, okay, and know where to go. All right. Symbols are everywhere. I was listening to Jordan Peterson. I haven't listened to him in a few weeks, but I've been listening to him, and I know that he talks about symbols a lot. But anyway, so a symbol is a mark, sign, or word that indicates, signifies, or is understood as representing an idea, object, or relationship. Symbols allow people to go beyond what is known or seen by creating linkages between otherwise very different concepts and experiences. So, I mean, like, even if you're in a foreign country and you don't speak the language, okay, there are things there are symbols, things that can kind of help you, get along while you're there, pictures, okay, or symbols to, help you on your path. I don't think I need to really go into any deep, hardcore explanation about that, okay. So I was saying that, like, for example, letters are symbols for sounds, right? You think about the alphabet, A through Z. Those are symbols for sounds. The sound for A can be A or A, B, B, C, S or K, D, D, D. Okay, but these are, and we can go on and on, phonics. They're sounds, okay? So we have symbols for sounds. So I was thinking, it kind of hit me as I was thinking about it, that letters are also sigils, okay? What is a sigil? It's an inscribed or painted what? Symbol considered to have magical power. Archaic, a seal. The supply wains bore the High King's sigil or seal. Literary, a sign or symbol, a 1925 Buick limousine, the sigil of Tom's naturalization. Okay, so a sigil is a symbol as well. So you think about if you've ever made your own sigil, okay, and there's plenty of information out there on how to make your own sigil, but you make them all the time. When you write, letters are sigils. So I talk about prayer a lot and the power of prayer. But the most powerful prayers that I've ever had were not ones that were spoken, they were ones that were written. Okay? Or like we talk about spelling or a spell. Okay? Spell, write or name the letters that form a word in a correct symbol, be a sign or characteristic of. Wait a minute. Write or name the letters that form a word in correct sequence. For example, Dolly spelled her name. Or B, a sign or characteristics of. She had the chick efficient look at that spells Milan. Okay. Now let's look at the occultic meaning of spell, a form of words used as a magical charm or incantation. Okay. A spell is laid on the door to prevent entry, a form of words used as a magical charm or incantation. So it's like when I think about those prayers that I would write, it used to be a maze. Like when I was much younger, I used to pray heavily. Okay, when I was younger and I was in seminary. So sometimes I don't even know what made me write it out, start writing them, but I did. I started writing them. And I noticed that I was kind of amazed at how much more powerful they were when I would write them out, or maybe the answer to the prayer came quickly, like basically like overnight sometimes, much more so than when I just spoke them. Okay, yet in still speaking them, there was still power in speaking them as well. All right, so back to sigil, an inscribed or painted symbol considered to have magical power, spell, and then we have these letters. We take letters to form words. Okay, so in forming these words, what do? We spell. Okay, and I would think that it would sound like to me that making a word, writing a word, or a sentence. Okay, you spell these words to form a sentence. It would seem as though to me the whole sentence would be a sigil. Okay, therefore, this sentence now has magical power. All right. Excuse my breaks. I'm trying to think because it's just off the top of my head. There's nothing that I, wrote out or anything like that. I was just sitting here thinking. Okay. So again, you have a word. You write the word. You have created a sigil. You have a sentence. You have more sigils creating a spell. Okay, and the sigil also is sealed, so it seals whatever the seal is made, I would think, or maybe even the seal is made. The seal is made at the end of that sentence, or maybe even I haven't looked it up. The how you end the sentence. Okay, the period, the question mark, the exclamation mark form, seals the sigil, which is the sentence. Okay, that again has been created by the spelling of words. Okay, so therefore a spell has been created. Now we've seen things about this, I'm sure many of you have heard this kind of thing before. Maybe some of you haven't. Okay, therefore the spell is created. All right. And basically here, the spell's created. The magic has been, performed. All right. Whatever the sentence may be, Okay, so now let me look this up. Hold on. I'm looking up stuff while when I'm quiet as well. Okay, so what is magic? Magic is the power of apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. Suddenly, as if by magic, the doors start to open. Noun, adjective, used in magic or working by magic, having or apparently having supernatural powers. The example they use here is a magic wand. So what would be the wand? Whatever you use to write the sentence. Whatever you use to write the letters. The pen, the pencil, the marker, whatever. Okay. And then we have informal, like wonderful, exciting, what a magic moment, for example. Verb, move, change, or create by or as if by magic. Okay. So here we have in writing, in writing these letters or these sigils to form words, to form a sentence that is sealed, okay, we have performed magic, okay, by this wand, okay. And of course we know the wand in itself is not where the power lies, but the power lies within us, and the power lies within us that is directed through the wand, through the pencil, through the pen, through the marker, so on and so forth, written, and made permanent like a sigil, which we talked about, which is, once again, okay, and this is more so for me, okay, to keep going back and forth, which is inscribed, okay, it is inscribed or it is painted, okay. Yeah, and so I'm thinking like, people think sigils are evil. Well, everyone performs magic in some way, shape, or form, okay. Everyone inscribes when you write, okay. But it did make me think, for example, all right, especially now, how people spell. Oh, and we see it more so now, I think, with the advent of, social media. So you might not spell out be right back. You'll just say BRB, okay? Or whatever, or I see a lot of misspelling, especially working, in the schools. It's kind of ridiculous, But you may say, well, you have the thing on your device to check your grammar, to check your spelling, okay? But I even see sometimes students can be remiss in even utilizing that tool, right? Some programs will go ahead and change it for you. But it made me wonder, so if you can't spell, okay, what has been agreed upon by a collective, okay, that this is how this word is spelled. The collective has agreed. Now, I can't say who first decided that the spelling would be, let's say Apple, for example, APPLE. I can't say who or what, historically, decided, when we talk about the origins, for example, of our language of English, which I think would be Latin, who decided that the spelling would be APPLE, and we have all collectively agreed upon it, that is it. All right. Okay. So we know what that is when we see it, when we see the spelling of it. Okay. And we say, okay, well, now, because for whatever reason, spelling is kind of going out the window, and maybe you see someone spell it as APUL, even on their computer screen. Okay, like I'm just thinking about in the schools, for example, you don't see as much writing as you used to because they have their Chromebooks. Everything is done on their computer. All right. They still, I would think, have to spell, correctly. All right. But again, APUL for Apple, when that is not correct. So what happens? Does that mean that the power that was once in your hands to create whatever, this sigil, okay, in the form of words, in the form of a sentence, okay, to make magic happen, does it mean that it is no longer, if you cannot spell and your spelling is wrong, does it mean that you are no longer, that you are no longer empowered to create and make magic happen? Okay, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Okay, Or does it mean that as time moves on, human beings just adapt to, there are changes that are made. Okay, like for example, you used to see in Old English, you would see a V for maybe, I think a U. I'm not sure, was it a U? Okay, or there were some letters that didn't exist. Okay, now they do. Okay, for whatever reason. I don't know the history. All right. So eventually the old spelling is wiped away and now we have this new spelling. Okay. Is that what will happen? As well, if you're now working on a device and taking the power out of your hands, but is the power really taken out of your hands, or is now the keyboard the wand? Okay. So if the power is taken out of your hands and then you have grammar check, and spell check, okay, does that take the power away from you as well? Is the power taken away from a person as well to enable them to create, to make magic happen through the use of these sigils? Or I wanted to say, or must it be done in such a way that you have to write it out? All right, so my phone ran out of space. So I was just saying, or must it be done in such a way that you have to write it out through the use of, I don't know, I want to say a pencil, pen, whatever, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe the keyboard in itself can become the wand through which the power of that's within you to create, make this magic happen through the use of letters as sigils, once again, to spell, to put letters together, these sigils together, to make words, to make sentences, okay, to create, paragraphs, stories, whatever the case may be. Therefore, making magic, and sealing it so so basically that is set in stone. I was listening to a video about the occult of commerce, which made me start to question these things, which made me start to think about these things as I was listening to them. Like, for example, so to someone this may sound kind of crazy what I'm saying, or silly what I'm saying, or it doesn't make sense what I'm saying, but through this means, magic happens. People are swayed, spells are made, people are swayed to think a particular way, or to behave a particular way. They were talking about laws, for example. Laws are written, okay? They don't just say this gonna be the law and that's it. No, they are written, okay? And that written law, what is written, again, these through the use of letters, which are symbols, which are sigils, to form words, to form sentences, okay, and sealed. Here we have commands. These are to sway you to behave a particular way, lest you break that law. And if it sways you to behave a particular way, or to think a particular way, then we have what is called magic, the power of apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. These letters, these sigils, are supernatural or mysterious forces. Religious texts. Okay, you often hear me quote scripture in my videos. Okay, again, letters, symbols, sigils, to form words, to create a spell. to cause you to behave a certain way, to think a certain way, to believe a certain way, which will cause you to live a certain way. All right, based off of the spell that has been created by the written word or by these sigils, these things that we call words, these through the use of letters, these things that we call letters. All right, that's really all I got. I don't know, no big long lecture or anything like that. Okay, just something to think about. It. Somebody may know more along the lines of what I'm saying. Okay, but there are quite a lot of videos on YouTube about words being spells. All right, and isn't that what a sigil basically is? An inscribed or painted symbol considered to have what? Magical power. Magic. We're talking about magic. Okay, a spell that has been cast. Okay, through these letters, through these words, through making sentences that are sealed. All right, that's all I got. Check out my Patreon. Let's get into it. The number 1, and my website kenyattasintuition.com, where you can get a reading. All right, tarot, so on and so forth. Check it out. Y'all be blessed. Peace.